pitch. Change hit in the air to deep right field. Back goes Clemente. And the save. He's done. Get out of here, baseball. He's gone. Oh, my God. Can you believe it? Johnny Bench has tied it up. The Cincinnati Reds win the World Series in 4 straight. It was a sweep. In the dirt. It's a wild pitch. Here comes Foster. The Reds win the pennant. Larkins won the game.
That ball is fair. Cincinnati's ahead. 2 games to none.
Welcome, Joe Randa to Cincinnati. Adam Dunn has done it again.
Benzinger backing and calling. And the 1990 World Championship belongs to the Cincinnati Reds.
Marty, yes. This is Adam from Milwaukee. Hey, Adam, how you doing? I'm good. How are you? Good. Do you think Scott Chatterbox is a good player?
Dunn up there with the bases loaded, the outfield deep and around toward right, and the 1-0 on the way to the plate. Swung on, long drive, right field, and this one belongs to the Reds.
And a high drive, hit back into deep right field. Junior has just knocked the door down to the 500 club.
Benson's first home run is a walk-off winner. That ball had a family.
And De La Cruz is, oh my goodness, look at this kid run. My, oh my, that is a triple.
Matt McLain's first big league bomb.
Spencer Steer's first big league hit is a home run to straightaway center field. Joey Votto's done it again.
The pitch. Votto swings high in the air. Right field. Yes! He pointed to the dugout to say, I told you. That is Joey Votto's 315th career go-ahead ribby. Only Johnny Bench had more as a Red.
And I can't tell you how much it means to play in front of everyone here in Cincinnati as a Red. What a gift. What a tremendous gift. So thank you. Thank you.
I think I can speak for all of Reds country. Joey Votto, thank you.
High drive. Left center field. Racing back to the wall. Bourgeois. The Reds are National League Central Division champions. In the air, left center field. Did he? Did he? He did. He did. Reds win. Reds win. Line to the right field. Genius, the first run ever. With 4 home runs in a game. Can you believe it? In the air, down the right field line. Doesn't have a chance. The Reds have won on a 3-run home run on opening day by Ramon Hernandez. A strike away and out away is Homer Bailey. Ground ball to third. Frazier gloves. Throw to first, and Homer Bailey, for the second time in his major league career, has tossed a no-hitter. Oh, gosh. Oh, my God. Are you kidding me? Holy Moses, the second player in major league history to hit 7 home runs in the first 10 games. In the air, and the Reds win. What a dream beginning to the career of Jay Bruce.
All right, Nick. Sunday night edition of Chatterbox Reds, and here we are. Must say, I went to try to get us started on X, and I looked at my face, and I was lagging. So at this point, I'm going to tell everybody, here's what's going to happen. I am probably, if you want to see me tomorrow, you can probably catch me at the Micro Center. No free ads, but there's a good chance I'm going to go in there and just completely throw this computer. I've tried every remedy that I can, and at this point, I think it's just time just to try to start with a nice, new, fresh start, Nick. So for those that are watching here on Sunday night, I don't know if the words are going to match up with our lips at all, based off the fact that it seems like the PC just can't hang. It can't hang. It can't hang. The Reds are so hot, the PCs can't hang anymore. We got a 50-bomb super chat right off the rip, Nick. I'm going to, you know what? I don't even need your reaction yet. You just save your reaction. I'm going to get right into the super chat because it deserves some praise. Ethan Faulkner, I'm guessing, because at this point, YouTube just cuts the names off for whatever reason. So, when are the Reds offering Big Sal the 15-year, $450 million contract extension? I'll contribute to the contract with my $100 Rookie of the Year bet I placed on him. Vamos Rojas. I think that means go Reds. I think. I don't know a lot about Spanish, but I do think I got that right. But nonetheless, Nick, computer's on the fritz. I'm over here worried about whether or not, things are going to do what they're supposed to do, and the Reds are winning, which is the positive. This would be a bad show if we were on here talking about a clean sweep, and we had to deal with all this.
I like the Sal extension, Never too early. He's still incredibly young. I mean, these are the kind of deals the Reds should be aggressive on. So sign me up.
Hey, I'm all for it as well. I mean, there's no reason to not have at least a discussion. Give it a shot. I know Tito said it's a little too early to crown him, or what did he say? It's a little too early to induct him, I think was his phrase. Not to misquote Tito. But at this point, like I said before, I mean, the way that he swings the bat and the way that he has just the aura, as the kids would say, his aura precedes him. I mean, he believes he's the man. At this point, I think that he is the man. So I don't know. I mean, obviously, I know at some point he's not going to be able to keep playing this well, but I'm not going to put it past him too much to continue on somewhat at the same pace he's on. All right, well, it's a winning edition of Chatterbox Reds, which obviously means the Reds have done two things, Nick, that they were incapable of doing for the vast majority of the previous how many ever seasons you want to go back, quite frankly. One is they didn't really win too many one-run baseball games as in Chatterbox Reds history. That's number one. Number two is they won a series, Nick, where they lost the first game of the series. I don't know if you remember or not, but it took a long time. It took a long time for them to get that monkey off their back. And you know what? They didn't waste no time in 2026. They just did it on the very first series. Two promising things, many other promising things as well we'll get into. But I guess I'll just ask you the dumb, plain, easy softball answer, which is, I guess, your overall thoughts in the mood here as we enter into Chatterbox Reds on a Sunday night.
Yeah, it's a great series win to start off the year. Kind of like anytime I think the Red Sox leaving town probably are like, man, did we really just lose that series? Anytime you win a series and the other team's saying that on the way out, it's a great day, right? Reds were underdogs in all three games by any of the betting markets, so that's a good series win. And like you mentioned, getting those monkeys off the back. I didn't even realize I didn't think about the whole not winning after losing the first game, so that's nice. But the 2 one-run wins, and today just kind of felt like I know there was that was a game we didn't win last year. It wasn't just a game we don't win last year. That's the kind of game the Reds' opponents would win, where the Reds were up 2-0, playing well, and then the other team hits a 3-run home run and just flips the game. I feel like that happened a lot to the Reds. Nice to be on the other end. It feels a lot better being on the other end.
Yeah, I want to save a good chunk of that discussion that we kind of were getting ready to lend ourselves into, which is the feeling of the way in which this game was headed, and then to be on the opposite side of what I think we have kind of experienced throughout maybe really the past few years here, 2 years specifically, of kind of what we've seen happen to us, and the fact that we're on the opposite side of that showcases exactly what we have not only maybe tried to illustrate over the past couple years in regards to power, but maybe more so of exactly why you can't put too much stock in the way that Gino looks. We'll talk about that here in just a bit. But before we do, I want to jump into the box score recap, Nick, whenever you're ready. But ultimately, at the end of the day, a win is a win, and it doesn't matter how it feels.
Yeah, I agree. I'm just about ready. Buy me 1 second. I'm trying to get this up on Twitter.
Got one more super chat I want to get to before we get into the box score recap. Flip Flop Trucking. He's back, baby. Better than ever. He said he went down to Great American Ballpark today. Gino's bomb was awesome, but Big Tony's pickoff in the 8th inning was electric. Thanks for the show, fellas. Yes, some big moments. Obviously, I don't want to get too far off track, but once again, I do very much appreciate some of the mistakes, if you want to call it that the Red Sox made. But that's the other thing too, is like as much as we get upset at times about some of the mistakes that the Reds make, you have to factor in a little bit of credit to the opponent. Do I think the Reds deserve all the credit for some of the things that happened in this game that went their way? No, but Duran probably can't get picked there, but he did, and got to give Santillan some credit. We'll talk about that here in just a bit. Nick, question of the day is, did I buy you enough time?
You did.
Right.
You did.
Let's do it.
All right. Your box score recap is presented by our friends over at Sharefax Credit Union. Sharefax is rooted right here in Cincinnati with 9 branches across the city. They're a not-for-profit financial institution, which means they're owned by their members. Instead of profits going to shareholders, they're returned to you through lower fees, better rates, and all the traditional banking options you'd expect. And right now, Sharefax has a great auto loan promotion. You can get 1.5% off your qualified rate when you refinance your vehicle and your first payment isn't due for 90 days. Loans are subject to membership and credit approval, and restrictions may apply. For full terms and conditions, visit sharefax.org, apply online, or give them a call at 513-753-2240. All right, Reds taking on the Boston Red Sox, Game 3 of 162, the rubber game of the 3-game set. Rhett Lauder on the mound for the Reds against Connerly Early of the Red Sox. Rhett Lauder pitching for the first time in the big league since 2024. Got off to a great start, retired the first 6 batters that he faced. And then in the 4th inning, he gave up a single, which was followed by a 2-run home run by Wilyer Abreu that put the Sox up 2-0. The home run came on the 9th pitch of the at-bat, and it was only hit 98 miles per hour, going a few rows up into right field. Making just his 5th career big league start, Red Sox number 3 ranked prospect and the number 54 prospect in all of baseball, Connerly Early dominated the Reds hitters through the first 5 innings. Matt McLain led off the 6th with a hard-hit single. Early struck out Elly De La Cruz, and then the lefty's day was done. And then Sal Stewart walked against Red Sox reliever Greg Weissert, and then Eugenio Suarez unloaded on a 93-mile-per-hour fastball for his first home run with the back with the Reds. 3-2 good guys. All right, Reds bullpen. Brock Burke got 4 big outs to get the bullpen started. Pierce Johnson retired 2 batters, pitching in his 3rd game already this season. That got the Reds through the 7th. Tony Santillan, very shaky in the 8th. Velocity down. He walked 2 batters and gave up a single, but he picked off a runner and got a strikeout to somehow survive the inning. Emilio Pagan gave up a 1-out double in the 9th, but Pagan was able to get the job done. Reds win 3-2. Reds start the season 2-1, and your Cincinnati Reds get their first ever regular season series win over the Red Sox in Cincinnati.
All right, and we have the deep drive of the day. Folks, now listen, when you set up the deep drive of the day and you're sitting there trying to think to yourself, what would you like a deep drive to possibly look like? I don't know if it's more picturesque than what Eugenio Suarez delivered. It wasn't just a home run, folks. It wasn't just a go-ahead home run. It was a bomb up into the upper deck. Some would call it the bleachers. It doesn't matter what you call it because it was 109 off the bat, 431 feet, launch angle of 27 degrees for those who care. I personally do not. But it would give the Reds a 1-run lead, and at the time, it would jump their win probability up 39%, skyrocketing it to 71%, and ultimately, as we all know, it would wind up being 100%. And what is 100% is QC Kinetics. QC Kinetics is the sponsor of the Deep Drive of the Day, and if you are in knee pain or shoulder pain and it's slowing you down, whether it's on the golf course, the pickleball court, or even the gym, it might be time to talk to the care team at QC Kinetics Cincinnati about regenerative medicine options. QC Kinetics takes a different approach, focusing on treatments designed to help your body heal and recover. They're conveniently located in Liberty Township, right across from Lakota East High School. See what the team at QC Kinetics is all about. Visit QCkinetics.com or call 513-655-3356. I got to be honest, I'm feeling great. There are times when I wake up and I think, QC Kinetics could possibly be on the dock. I might have to make my way over there at some point as much as I I used to be able to roll out of bed, as I say, and be able to play pickup basketball within about 5 minutes if you gave me the time. Now it takes me 5 minutes pretty much to probably even find my shoes and put them on, but that's here nor there. Back to baseball, Nick. I don't know if there's been a game in which I felt like was the opposite of what I've watched so many times, more so than the one that we just witnessed. The fact that they won the series, but I want to jump into the Geno kind of discussion right off the rip here. Geno, for those that really haven't watched maybe a ton of him, this is who he is. I mean, this is what you get from him. There are times in which he is going to look and feel like he has no clue at the plate. He's going to have some really ugly at-bats. He's going to chase some pitches. There's going to be times like, let's face it, if he didn't come up with this big hit today, Nick, there was going to already be people in this community, in the city, in the fan base that was going to be like, well, why'd we go get this guy? There's no reason, though. I mean, he can't drive anybody in. He has had plenty of opportunities in that 5-hole, in which Tito has even brought up and mentioned, the reason he put him in the 5-hole is because he wants Eugenio to come up with a lot of opportunities to drive runs in, and that has been the case over the last 3 games. It's nice to see him at least get off the snide, I guess would be the term I'd like to use. Do I think that he was in a spot where you had to have a hit because there was so much pressure on him? No, I do not. But I do know that the pressure was going to start mounting if he didn't come up with one of these. Not so much the home run, but just a hit with runners in scoring position, more to say. And I think, we'll see ultimately what this means, but I think Eugenio is so rooted and embedded in being a major league hitter that I don't think he's going to concern himself over whether he's in a relatively small slump or not, as some others may. But today was a nice, big, perfect, clear picture as to why you go out and you sign Eugenio, and also what he's capable of doing for your baseball team. I might remind everybody, it's not a good memory, but it's one that comes to mind, Nick. He did this to the Reds when he played for the Diamondbacks. Him and a kid show, really nice guy named Kevin Newman. Those two guys, I don't know if you remember, they pierced our hearts in the same kind of fashion, where you come up with some big hits late and you hit one over the fence, and all of a sudden you ask yourself, how in the heck are you down? And that's what the Boston Red Sox probably are feeling tonight as they go home series losers.
Well, you'll be pleased to know that our Louisville Bats swept Kevin Newman's Omaha Storm Chasers over the weekend. I don't know if he played today, but yesterday Newman was used as a pinch runner, Trace. So he's still doing well.
Desperate times call for desperate measures. They are chasing a storm out there. That's
Omaha's in trouble.
I'd say so.
Yeah, I think if people were expected Eugenio Suarez is going to come up and rip singles up through the middle with runners in scoring position, I think you probably had some really bad expectations. This is a guy that hit 189 for the Mariners and over 200 at bats last year. This is a guy that is here to hit home runs, and he hit one today. I think you're hoping that Suarez will hit a home run every 3 or 4 games, and that's get you about 50 home runs. So this is exactly what you signed up for. So you're probably throughout the year you're going to be like, oh my gosh, this guy can't get a hit, and then he's going to get one of these big home runs, and you just see how it can flip a game. So this is exactly what I expected from Eugenio Suarez. I expect him to hit for a low average. I expect him to not get on base a whole ton, but I expect he's going to hit some massive home runs that are going to flip some games around.
Yeah, and I would also say too, for those that are the power is still obviously evidently there. Not only the home run, and I know that can be the obvious statement. Did you see how far it went? I even think if you backtrack a couple innings before that, earlier in the game, he hits a fly ball to center field. And it didn't look like he hit it that well, but the ball was caught right at the base of the wall. And I felt like at that point, it's like, I don't want to jinx this thing, but it's going to be hard for him not to run into some balls at Great American Ballpark that are just going to find themselves out of the ball yard that might not find themselves out anywhere else. So, he's the hero, but I don't think he's the story of the game. I think it kind of continues to go right back into what we have become very, very accustomed to in this city, and I would say we're even borderline spoiled. at this point. I think we're borderline spoiled, Nick. I think there's a lot of fan bases that would kill to have the quality starts and the staff that gives your team a chance to win as many times as this Reds team has had it over the last few years. We'll talk about Red Ladder in just a minute. Do have a couple more super chats, Nick, that I want to get to here, but real
quick, it's the pitching for sure, but it's also Matt McLain is off to a great start, hitting 400 so far. Sal Stewart drawing a walk. Those two guys got on base for Suarez, and you just don't get on base and you say, okay, now it's your time to hit a home run. You got to keep doing it over and over and over again, and eventually the dam will break, and that's what happened today. So, it's just the cumulative effect. And shout out, I will say it, like Terry Francona, clearly batting Sal Stewart cleanup was 1,000,000,000% the right decision ahead of Suarez. I think that just does balance your lineup out a whole lot better. You want Stewart ahead of Suarez. I think that is as crystal clear as anything we've seen.
Yeah, and I think that there's more decision making coming down the pike as well. We'll see if Tito does it, and I think if he does do it, it's hard, really, in my mind, to really criticize any lineup that he would produce here moving forward if he makes one small tweak. That's a little bit of a teaser for the back half of this rundown, but I do think there's one thing that he could do that it would almost be inarguable about what would be best for this team, and we'll see if he does it. It's kind of goes back to one of those age-old questions. Is he going to kind of stick to being the manager that just likes to keep things status quo? We'll find out. Jay Tensel, he had a super chat last night that we didn't get to, but I must say it's a kid's show. It wasn't really the most kid evident super chat. This one is, however, so I will read it. And by is, I'm going to make it kid friendly. I've been pondering it all day now. And Chatterbox Reds talk on a Sunday night gives me the chills so deep inside that I'd like to call my mom and have a nice conversation. That's what he wrote here on this lovely super chat. Thank you to Jay Tenzel. Shout out to him. JTB Baseball says, we are one stud closer away from being a very solid team. Do you guys see the Reds making a move for a stud closer mid-season? Just to answer that quickly, I would say that they would have to get closer to the deadline before they're going to make any moves, and it's going to have to be a spot where they feel very confident they're going to make the postseason if they're going to do that. I'm with you. I definitely feel like there's room for improvement on the back end of things, but at the same time, you paid a guy to be your closer. At least that's how I viewed it as a little smaller market team. I know that he's not getting paid maybe like other closers, but you paid him pretty good money to be a reliever. I'd like to think that they're probably going to give Pagan a significant amount of room or runway before they make any major decisions. Nick, anything to add on that front?
Yeah, it's still so early in the year. The bullpen today actually did throw 4 shutout innings. Now, granted, I think they got a little lucky. They gave up, I think, 4 hits.
Yeah.
I think they walked 4 batters, only struck out 2. That's not typically a recipe for success. But yeah, it's early. There's a lot of options, though. I mean, like there's a guy, Kyle Nicholas, that's sitting down at AAA right now that has a big league quality arm. Obviously, Zach Maxwell is not that far away from figuring it out and being the next Connor Phillips. And obviously Connor Phillips is Connor Phillips and just wasn't available today. But if he's available today, he would have gotten in there and been a major impact of it. Obviously Tony Santillan is the big concern right now, which is on the back half of the rundown. But I think there's guys that can replace him right now. So if you wanted to tell me Reds are in the hunt, what's your money on? What are they looking to add at the deadline? I'm going to say starting pitching, because I think that's always the easy answer that every team is looking for, because it's so hard. They get through 162 games because pitchers get hurt, and the Reds have already seen that.
I'd also say, like, of all of the things that you can go out and get, and it feels like a shot in the dark a little bit on what you're going to actually get back, relievers are most of the time going to be that answer. Now, of course, if guys like Mason Miller are available or something like that, sure. Like I'm not going to say that those guys aren't maybe a little bit more of a surefire thing, but for the type of product that I think the Reds would receive back, you're still going to be on pins and needles, in my opinion, on what kind of output you probably would end up getting regardless. And I get they could have a good year up to that point. It just feels like sometimes new scenery for guys might not always be the best recipe for success either. So we'll see. I'm not downplaying the concern, because that's been my concern since we started. Big Red Machine 76. You know how much I love the Big Red Machine, as we all know. Welcome to Nutcutter Nation. Thank you very much for supporting the channel. And then Sam says, it feels like it has to be brought up. Why does it feel like our catcher slot is an automatic out? Duno can't come soon enough. Let's give Stevenson a little bit of time, man. Let's give him a little bit of time. I think Stevenson is probably going to be at least. I've been a critic of Tyler Stevenson at times, but I think it's more than unfair to sit here and suggest that he might not be at least a league average catcher, if not better than that. And I would also say, like, I feel like so many times we've kind of done it. You always are wishing for the next guy to come up that hasn't proven anything. I mean, no offense to Duno, but, like, what makes you think that he might be better than Stevenson? He might be worse than Stevenson. He might not even eventually be even a borderline worthwhile big leaguer. Could be a quadruple A player. We don't know. And I'm not suggesting that's what's going to happen with Duno, by the way. I'm just saying, like, before we just start shoving some of these guys aside, let's pump the brakes a little.
I think there's a lot of teams across baseball that would love to have Tyler Stevenson right now.
Certainly, yes. But I do understand the concept that if Stevenson can't get going offensively, then at some point it becomes a little bit of a what's the right word to use? It becomes a little bit of a void, or something that you desire to have. But come on, I mean, it's just the first opening weekend. We're all excited. I love it, but I'm trying my best not to jump to too crazy of conclusions that fast, and I think that's a little quick. So we'll see. David says, welcome back, Reds baseball. Welcome back. Chatterbox Reds Sunday night. Thank you, David. We appreciate it. And appreciate everybody jumping in here. If you haven't already liked the stream, that would be fantastic. Looks like I got some sun today. I don't know. I'm red hot. Look at that. It looks like I was in the Florida sun and the beach. Nope. Just at some more 13U baseball. My wallet is much lighter for being at it. But anyway, Michael King says, nothing like Trace and Nick talking Reds baseball on a Sunday night. Welcome back, fellas. ATO, BTTR, thank you very much. Shout out to Bowling Green, too, with the little logo splash there. Ned Flanders, finally, rounding it out, says, Nick, you weren't wrong about Banfield. You were just early.
He nuked the ball. He nuked the ball against Omaha today.
Yeah. Shout out to him. All right. Let's go. You got 988 in front of you, Nick. Very much maybe something that let's let the people know.
Yeah, as always, we want to remind you can call or text 988 anytime, day or night. The 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline is a place to get support for anything related to mental health, whether it's an immediate crisis, simply wanting to find out how to connect with care, or anything in between. It's a 100% secure and anonymous way to reach out for help when you don't know where else to turn. To connect, call or text 988 or visit mantherapy.org to get help. It's okay not to be okay.
All right, people in the chat are asking for Fireball. I'm going to tell you right now. Here's what we're going to do. Maybe I'm not any fun anymore. But I'm going to do one thing. It's opening weekend. I'll do it one time. But from now on, we're going to dunk basketballs and we'll do Fireball on sweeps. I got to pace myself, folks. All right, I have to pace myself. I don't even know what this is going to look like with the way the stream's going as well. This thing is lagging so bad. It might look like I'm drinking Fireball for the rest of the show for all I know. And I don't need anybody, perhaps my kids, to see that and think that I have a problem. Or maybe they're parents of my kids. They're not even going to let their kids come over and hang out anymore. Because, look, there's Trace again, ripping Fireballs on Sunday night at 9:30. Not a very good public person.
Any 13U baseball. They're going to ban you at the door, at the gate.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you right now, they ought to be selling it at the gate at 13U baseball after what I saw. I got to be honest. I mean, I saw, I think, more walks than balls put in play, but that's here nor there. Don't want to get too down the well here on the 13U baseball, but I've seen enough of it till next Saturday. And I love my kid, by the way. I love watching. I love it all. Love it. But boy, oh boy, I'll tell you what. Anyways. All right, we'll get to supers at the end. We got to get back to let's talk some Reds baseball. Rhett Lauder, I got to tell you, I've been a Rhett Lauder stan for quite some time here. I just love the pitch mix. I love the competitive pitches that he continues to throw. What seems like at bat after at bat after at bat. He even times when I think that he does walk somebody, it feels like they're relatively competitive. He walked somebody on 4 pitches today, and I feel like all 4 of them were like right off the edge of the zone. But what maybe is the most compelling thing about Rhett Lauder is the amount of pitches that he's capable of throwing for strikes and the amount of pitches that he's capable of showcasing to each individual hitter as they come up. I think it's going to lend itself as he progresses throughout his career, his ability to be able to get deeper into games and pitch guys differently. I really do. Now, whether or not he's able to continue to be able to throw the ball well enough to do that, we'll find out. But he's one of the few guys that doesn't, in my mind, rely on overpowering somebody and or having a, one-trick pony that ultimately might run out at some point, a la, Alexis Diaz or something like that. I know that's a random shout out on a Sunday night edition, but like when you only have one pitch, and I get Mariano Rivera's of the world existed, it's just subject to where if that goes dry, you're in a really, really bad spot. Rhett Lauder, also, for those that don't remember, he kind of looked like this the last time he was up at the big league level, Nick. He just got hurt. You missed him for a while. You kind of forgot about him, a la Brandon Williamson a little bit too. And you watch him again, and you're like, oh, yeah, this guy, he's pretty good. Your thought on the outing, and I thought he was I don't want to say the star of the game, but in my mind, I feel like kind of was the star of the game that gave the Reds a chance to win.
It was fantastic. And remember, he wasn't even supposed to start here on Sunday. He thought he'd be starting at some point during the Pirates series. Had to get bumped up because of Lodolo's injury, so he wasn't planning on having to get ready this early. I don't think he even knew till earlier this week he was starting. And he actually pitched in the bullpen on Tuesday in Milwaukee, so he hadn't even had an official start. So, he was fantastic. Mixed all of his pitches well. 29% fastballs, 28% slider, 28% sinker, 15% changeup. Velocity was good. Hit 95 miles per hour. He got 14 swing and misses. Only gave up 4 hard hit balls. It's a really good Boston lineup. In a small ballpark. And the home run he gave up, it was the 9th pitch of the at-bat. It's only hit 98 miles an hour off the bat. Went a few rows out to right field. It wasn't one of those home runs like, oh, man, he just tanked that one. Yeah, it was fantastic. It was just Lauder and Burns and Williamson, really just kind of feel like what can kind of swing this early season in terms of how impactful are they? Are they? I'm not worried about any of them being bad or terrible, but are they pluses? And so far, I felt like Lauder was a plus.
Yeah, they're kind of a wild card, right? You're not totally sure what you're going to get out of the last 3 guys in the back end. And the scary part, really, as we approached opening day, in my opinion, was that kind of felt like I wasn't sure what we were going to get out of anybody at one point because of just the way in which Andrew Abbott threw the ball in the spring. You factor in the Brady Singer kind of was having some blister issues, and I know that he had said that he was going to pitch through it and he ain't worried about it, but it is the way that you have lived in this town and dealt with blisters with other pitchers, not to name names, it just hasn't gone really well. So I was just kind of begging for somebody to throw relatively well at the beginning of this year, and so far they all have. And we'll see. Obviously, it's really, really early, but I felt like this team was more than capable of winning 90 games or more if you guaranteed me that we were going to get the same output from the starting pitching that we got last year. But I ultimately felt like deep in my heart that was so unrealistic to ask for, so greedy that I just haven't even brought it up, right? I didn't even want to set that as the expectation. However, if that, and I know after 3 games, this is maybe a little ridiculous to get ourselves leaning towards the fact that might be possible again. But if Burns and Williamson and Lauder are capable of just being good I would even say 50% of the time, 50% of the time, then I feel like they're going to find themselves yet into another position where the pitching is going to give the hitting enough time in a game to give themselves a chance to win. And that's just what they did today, by the way. Like if this would have gone sideways, you get yourself down 6 to nothing. It not only, in my opinion, changes the outlook of the game, but I think it deflates the morale of the team. Now, everybody's going to say they're going to fight tooth and nail till the end, et cetera, et cetera. But the truth of the matter is, in my opinion, is that if you can keep it around a 2-3 run game, you always feel like you're in it. And the Reds had a couple opportunities they were unable to cash in on earlier in the game, and then obviously Eugenio delivers, and I think that's a direct result of the work that was already done by Rhett Lauder. So kudos to him, and I feel like I said before, he was the catalyst that kind of allowed this team to find a way to win today. Bullpen, you had mentioned earlier, Nick. I still feel like it's where we are playing with fire, but you got some innings from some guys again that were not named Santillan and not named Pagan that went well, and your overall thoughts, I guess, on that unit as a whole.
Brock Burke was definitely a big positive today. That's really good velocity, 97 miles an hour he hit. Retired 4 batters. That's kind of been it was an underrated piece of this series. You had Sam Mole go out and get 4 outs, kind of that bridge from the starters to just all across baseball. They're not going to go super deep into a game in their first start. I thought Brock Burke was good. Brock Burke was really bad this spring, so that was really good to see with Caleb Ferguson on the IL. You need these lefties to step up, and so he was great. Pagan was fine. Again, Santillan, though, is I don't know what's going on with him. I mean, just the velocity being like almost 4 miles per hour down is pretty concerning. Pierce Johnson, man, how about just a workhorse? Pitched in all 3 games. Yeah, I mean, so like good stuff. Santillan, though, I guess is the concern. I'll be interested to see if I don't know, maybe I don't want to say there's an injury there, but might be.
I also wonder if he's going to continue to get the opportunities in the back end that he has, because I mean, it feels like there's times where you can look at a situation and say, okay, well, he deserved the chance to get out of this, and it worked out in his favor. But you can only do that so many times before you know what's coming next. And Santillan, very much the way in which I thought, Alexis Diaz felt at times, I very much feel that same way about Santillan. Like, you can't continue to walk guys. You can't continue to be all over the place, not really have anything that you can control. And I when I say anything that he can control, I genuinely kind of mean that. Like, I just think I think he's I'm not saying he's trying to throw it right down the middle per se, but like, I don't think there's much control of anything other than the fact that every so often the pitch accidentally finds itself in a good position that you would want a pitch to land in. And why it's happening, I don't know, but when you have other guys in that pen, and I actually think that Phillips, considering he threw 2 innings the night before, he's unavailable. I would be shocked. Put it this way, I would be shocked if Phillips doesn't become that setup man. And then Santillan just slowly kind of works himself back until he gets in a spot where you feel like, hey, he kind of looks the part again. But we'll see moving forward on how they deal with it. Of all the things that Tito does well, and I think you've said this 1,000 times, is it feels like he does know how to manage a bullpen. He does understand kind of being able to kind of maneuver the levers that are when guys are either tired, hurt, or injured. He seems to do a really good job of understanding when to be able to kind of push guys and when to pull back the reins.
Yeah, and again, like, so Santillan, yeah, he did get through both without allowing a run, but I almost feel better if he was pumping in 98 miles per hour and he left one over the middle of the plate and get a home run. But I mean, the average, pitch velocity being down almost 3-4 miles an hour, that just, to me, and he doesn't have control of it either. It's like,
right,
the velocity's down and he has no control. Yeah, that to me seems like you should probably be at least moving him into a lower leverage spots until you feel more confident that that's back, or putting him on the IL at this point. Just because it does feel like you're playing with fire.
Yeah, he got out of it, right? It's like he got out of it, so you can't go overboard. But it's just it definitely feels like we're right there on the edge of disaster every single time that he's gone out there of recent. And he also didn't have a very good spring. You factor in the back half of last year, and it feels very Alexis Diaz-y. It just does. I mean, I hate to say that. That's where we're at. You have lineup on there. I think I teased this. I don't know if you just threw that in there on the fly, but I did say here on the front half of the show that I felt like if Tito could make one little adjustment on the front end of this lineup, then I think that it would be very hard to make an argument on any changes being necessary. And that, simply put, Nick, is the concept that if you ever find yourself with a left-handed pitcher on the mound, that you have got to move Friedl and or you have to move Elly. I don't care who it is, so people don't think I'm playing favorites. I'm not trying to play favorites. I don't care. If you want to move Elly down in the lineup, go ahead. Move him down in the lineup. If you want to take Friedl, move him down in the lineup, and then put Elly in the one hole, just in case you want to put a guy on there that accidentally, if he walks, he might be able to steal second. So be it. I'm not saying TJ Friedl can't steal any bases at all, but let's be honest, one's significantly higher value of stealing a base than the other. I would just say, like, the only thing that I've seen of the lineup so far is that has to change, and it's a non-negotiable for me, because far too often we're going to find ourselves either at the beginning of the game when they start a left-handed pitcher, or even later in the game when they bring in a left-handed arm. You're going to find yourself in a position where I think you're asking yourself to put yourself behind the eight ball for two hitters out of the top three hitters in your lineup, especially when you have guys that are seeing the ball, in my opinion, as well as other guys, and you can just shift them all up one spot. But I don't want to make it seem like it's the world's worst thing either. I'm not suggesting that it's gonna, if they did that, Nick, that it would shift their win probability from 84 wins this year to 92. But it seems obvious, and I'm hopeful that will come to be. And the last thing I'll say, hot take of the day, I am ever slowly, I think I have got myself right on the line. I'm not over the line yet, but I'm on the line of maybe, just maybe, having Elly stick to left-handed.
Yeah, I don't know if that would be it would fix it or not. But I'm with you. I don't really care which one of them get moved down. But yeah, it's just you're just making it too easy. Like, every single time, like, their plan is, all right, you're going to try to go through the lineup 3 times, and then the 4th time you're going to try to get through Elly, because they set it up for you. They have left, right, left. So just try to get through him. Your day's done. We'll bring in a right-handed reliever every single time. And it's just like, I don't understand why you continue to make it easy. And you're giving Elly and Friedl 4 at-bats against a lefty. Both guys were below average hitters against lefties. And you have 2 guys in Dane Myers and Tyler Stevenson who hit great against lefties, and Sal Stewart, who was the first guy out, like, that only get 3. It's just like, you're not putting these guys in the best chances to succeed. You're making it too easy on the matchup. You're also, in a lot of situations, probably not going to get to a team's bullpen earlier because they know they can get those extra 3 batters. Like, most teams, especially with the young starters, you're just trying to get 3 times through the order. That's pretty much your goal. But it's like, wow, we might as well push and try to get an extra 3 and save our bullpen a little bit. So it just doesn't make sense to me. It just feels like it keeps handicapping this team. And I'm with you. It's not going to be something that's going to have some big drastic shift on the season, which is why I don't like to complain about lineups a whole lot. But this just seems like such a basic concept just to put the players in the best chance to succeed.
Well, last year Elly struggled, and everybody wanted to make the excuse of it being kind of the quad or whatever you want to make the excuse being. You can make it, okay? But I also don't know why it's been established that somehow he's just the 3-hole hitter. And this is, I am pro Elly, and I think Elly has a chance to be as good as any player that the Reds have had in recent memory. The only issue that I have so far is I don't think that he's proven that he belongs anywhere near the 3-hole, especially against left-handed pitching. There's nothing he's ever done that's made you say, you know what, let's stick him there. So why do we continue to do it? And in fact, the only thing that it really does at the end of the day, in my opinion, is it just exacerbates a problem that already exists, and it adds, I don't think undue pressure to him, because I don't make it sound like he, and it's not so much that as it is just, let's put our best foot forward here. Like, let's just try to put better hitters at the top of the lineup against certain types of pitchers. And again, if you want to keep Friedl in the leadoff because you think he's a leadoff hitter, I don't care. That's fine. Then just move Elly down. But you can't continue to have both of those guys right next to each other. So we'll see if they do it or not.
If you just simply switched Sal and Elly today, I don't think there's any way that the Red Sox leave their starter in to face Sal Stewart a third time. So they're going to bring in a right-handed pitcher to face Sal Stewart, who's going to have to face Elly De La Cruz. So you're setting up your superstar for better success. Like, you're not setting up Elly for more success. You want Elly to get as few at-bats against lefties as you can. You hope he can improve over the years, but he's never going to be better against lefties. No matter how big of an overhaul to an approach or anything, he's always going to be better against right-handed pitching, and you're just not setting him up for the best success by putting him in the 3-hole.
No, because they both exist together, though. Like, to be clear, because they both exist together. If you take one out of the mix, right, and you have to, let's just say, for instance, if you're a manager and you're looking at it and you're saying, okay, I'm gonna keep my left-handed starter in for the 4th time through the lineup. He's probably wearing down a little bit, doesn't have his best stuff. Do I want to take the chance on letting him throw against 2 guys that hit lefties pretty good just so he can face Elly again? The answer is probably no. But if you look at it and you're like, you know what? We got 2 guys that can't hit water if they fell out of a boat against this left-handed pitching thing, and the only guy we got to get past is McLain in the 2-hole. We'll just pitch around the 2-hole hitter. We'll try to get the 2 outs with the other guys, and then we'll bring in our right-handed reliever to try to get the last final out. Or maybe we accidentally get McLain out and we go 1, 2, 3. So, again, I'm done with it. I'm not saying it's the end of the world. People are going to say, like, oh, I already see some people like, I'm not saying that I'm smarter than Tito. I'm just saying it seems like an obvious thing. That's all. Seems like an obvious thing. And I'm hopeful
it's obvious to the opposing managers.
Yeah, because it's been obvious to the opposing managers, because I'll also say here soon, probably middle part of this year, if not later, when starting pitching starts to wear down a little bit, I can guarantee you there'll be openers, left-handed openers, left and right if they don't change that theory. I mean, why not go out and throw a left-handed pitcher to start the game off and let him go, 1, 2, 3 or whatever term you want to use. Try to get through the first inning through those hitters. And if he doesn't go 1, 2, 3, then you can just bring in a right-hander anyways. But I digress. Any other final things that you want to kind of discuss from today's game? Great home series. Got a town. I don't want to jinx or I don't want to ruin the who, what, when, where, and why, but got another big series coming up as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, good. Best crowd in an opening weekend since at least 2022. I don't know if they just couldn't calculate the Riverfront weekends or not. But yeah, so that's the best opening weekend in Great American Ballpark history. So yeah, Red Sox I think help a little bit.
Yeah, there might have been a few Red Sox fans there, but I think for the most part,
their money pays the same. Their money pays the same.
Yeah, there might have been a few "Let's go Red Sox" chants that I heard ever so slightly over the radio broadcast, but who's counting?
That's all I got. Good series win. Keep it moving.
Yeah. All right. Reds MILB. If you got that ready to roll, let's rock and roll it and get onto it. And I'll have some fireball waiting for the folks that care about that here in just a minute.
All right. Reds MILB presented by our friends at 78 Cigars. Cincinnati legend Anthony Munoz has a new venture, and we are fired up to partner with it here on Chatterbox Reds. Introducing 78 Cigars, a premium cigar line from the Hall of Famer himself. If you love great cigars and Cincinnati football history, this is the perfect combination. You can grab 78 Cigars right now at both Montgomery and locations or over at Creekside Cigar Company. You can also check them out online. Just head to anthonymunoz.com. Click on the 78 Cigars page, and learn more or place your order today. That's 78 cigars from the greatest offensive lineman to ever do it, Anthony Munoz. How about the Louisville Bats? They sweep the Omaha Storm Chasers. First time that Louisville has started the season 3-0 since 2013. Reese Hines has picked off exactly where he left off out in Arizona. On base all 4 times today. Came to the plate. Had a single hit, 114.1. Hardest hit ball in AAA today, and the second hardest hit ball in all of baseball. Only a few ticks behind Jordan Walker. Hines in the series, 6 for 11. That's a .545 batting average. JJ Bleday on base 3 times. Christian Encarnacion and Strand 2 for 4. CES had 2 balls hit over 104. Hector Rodriguez on base twice, stole a base. Edwin Arroyo on base twice, stole a base. Blake Dunn on base 3 times, stole 2 bags. And Will Banfield, as mentioned earlier in the show, hit a home run, 431 feet, 110 off the bat. And some good pitching from Davis Daniel, 4 innings, 1 hit, 2 runs. Good stuff from Louisville. I don't know, Trace. Reese Hines, he's having good at bats. Like, I would encourage the people to actually watch these at bats that he's taken. I don't know. Noel Marte, man, he better kick it up, or I'm not calling for it yet. But I'm getting fully on board the Reese Hines camp.
Listen, there's going to be so many people right now that are absolutely driving in the car on their way to wherever they're going, and they just spilled their coffee because you brought up Reese Hines yet again. I don't think that anyone is going to give Reese Hines another chance that has already casted him off, because at the end of it all, everyone's always going to downplay what it means in AAA, what kind of pitching you're seeing, all of that. They don't care. Whether he's having better at bats or not, they don't care. Ultimately, the proof's going to be in the pudding when he gets an opportunity again with the Reds. He's going to probably get another opportunity just based off the fact that the chances of the health existing for the entirety of the season without needing somebody, probably not likely. The fact that we had Connor Joe and Garrett Hampson in the outfield and the corner outfield spots last year, I'm going to go out on a limb and say that we might use Reese Hines at some point. And I hope you're right, Nick. I hope you're right. He does. In almost a way that Will Benson at time does, he looks the part, right? Like, every part of him looks like an absolute major league player. Whether or not he's capable of being consistent enough, that's another story. We'll find out. All right. We do have some more supers here I do want to get to before we get to the who, what, when, where, and why. Let's see here. Big Red Machine said, Sal is bringing Tony Perez vibes, and just wait until 2 or 3 guys get hot in tandem. That is the beautiful thing, is that Eugenio helped us win a baseball game, and he really hasn't performed at the level in which I think he will at some point this season, where he just gets red hot for a week long. Maybe it's coming up this week. We'll see. But that's coming down the pike at some point. And we all know that Elly can do that as well. So that's the encouraging thing for this team, is that there are certain players that we've already seen show in their big league careers that they can carry an offense for a week and a half at times. And then, yes, they might go ice cold. But the beautiful thing right now so far is that you've had unbelievable consistency out of Sal Stewart, and you've had unbelievable consistency out of Matt McLain as well. Like, those two guys have really, really given the Reds great opportunities in multiple innings because of just how well they've played so far. And also, haven't mentioned it on the show, really, really nice to see Matt McLain have back-to-back days to where he kind of looked like he did in the spring. Garrett Crochet, obviously, is maybe not the easiest person to hit baseballs off of, so he'll get a pass for opening day, but it's nice to see him get off to a good start so far. Flip-Flop Trucking said, people are complaining about this team. In 25, this team had Connor Joe and Garrett Hampson. Y'all just slow down. Yeah, and I would also tell you back in 2023, we had Stuart Fairchild hitting in the 3-hole with Henry Ramos hitting in the 5-hole, and Nick Senzel hitting in the 6-hole, and Reynolds hitting in the 7-hole, and Barrero following him up.
At least that
was bad.
Our lineup against the left.
Casale was hitting after him. So pretty. Sometimes when you think things are bad, I just look over my left shoulder and take a peek, and I realize things aren't that bad anymore. All right. RD said, "Fire Tito, hire Kirby." Hopefully that's not the vibes we're trying to put off, but just, I mean, hey, we talk about the Reds every single day, and at some point, you got to bring up things that you think you see that seem obvious, and we'll see ultimately if that ends up showcasing itself at some point. Nick, I don't know. Big Red Machine again. Big Red Machine's on fire with the super. Says, out of curiosity, what are Elly's stats when he batted leadoff back in the day against right-handed pitchers? I don't know, but I'm sure that
I don't know if you can find that.
AI can't figure that out. AI can't figure anything out anymore, by the way. I'm half in, half out on the AI.
I can't tell you the right-handed pitching. I don't know. Maybe StatCast has a way to search. I can tell you what he did in all situations in a second. I don't know. He hit 207, 281, 695 OPS. Only had 87 at-bats again in the leadoff spot. All in 2023, by the way.
So he hasn't let off since 2023, which makes sense. I don't know. He just kind of he's just not a three-hole hitter. He's not a three-hole hitter in the sense of what he's proven against left-handed pitching. Simple as that. In fact, of all the people that think I know they think you glaze, and you know, listen, I'm not putting words in your mouth. I'm not saying this is a co-endorsement thing, but for all the people that don't think that Elly gets any criticism on the show, I've just said this whole entire show, evidently, that he doesn't deserve to hit in the 3-hole. So at least check mark, at least do this for me. At least give me a little bit of credit for saying out loud that I think Elly is criticized for something before everyone tells me that I never say anything bad about him. All right, we got who, what, when, where, and why, Nick. More baseball on the way. And, of course, we will be back better than ever, hopefully to talk about yet another Reds victory.
All right, Reds taking on the Pittsburgh Pirates, 3-game series at Great American Ballpark. Pirates, they lost 2 of 3 against the Mets, actually won on Sunday in the series finale in extra innings. Francisco Lindor, one of the worst sins I've ever seen, got gunned down at the plate. He would have been the tying run, and there was no one out. It was just a horrendous sin. But nonetheless, this series, Monday, will be Chase Burns against Braxton Ashcraft. Tuesday, Brandon Williamson against Bubba Chandler. And Wednesday, TBD against Andrew Abbott. We expect that's going to be Paul Skeens. For this matchup here on Monday, Braxton Ashcraft, really talented young right-handed pitcher, pitched really well in spring training. 2.03 ERA, 1 walk, 16 strikeouts in 13 and a third innings pitched. Now, against the Reds last year, he pitched twice, 7 2/3 innings pitched. Reds got 11 hits off of him, but they only got 3 runs, only 1 walk, and 8 strikeouts. Brian Hayes is 2 for 3. Spencer Steer, 2 for 4. Those are the only multi-hit guys. Friedl, 1 for 2 with a double. That's the only extra base hit. So it looks like they have singled Mr. Ashcraft to death. Chase Burns, he had a 4.76 ERA this spring, but he was really good his last start in Milwaukee. Two games against the Pirates last year, Trace. 8 innings, 3 hits, 1 run, 1 walk, 13 strikeouts. Monday night's game is also on FS1 in addition to Reds TV. There's some other quirky things going on with where games are at. I actually saw today. I'm out of market. I don't think this would apply to people in the Cincinnati market, but today's Reds game was actually on Hulu. I think part of the ESPN Unlimited type thing. So if you're not getting the MLB TV, you have some other subscriptions, some other cable, and you want to watch some Reds games, check, because there are a lot of games on a lot of different things.
Yeah. Obviously, MLB TV has made my life relatively simple. I just open up the app. Unfortunately, I did find out today that they don't have a deal with Vizio. No free ads, but they don't have a deal with Vizio. MLB doesn't have a deal with Vizio in regards to making an app on their television. So Now I got to like cast it on there and do some other things.
Yeah.
So it's just more technological problems in the Fowler household.
I went and bought a $15 Roku and just hooked it up to the Vizio. I have one.
It's a good idea actually. And you know what
It's
else
not
could
worth
be?
it's not worth your $15 to be casting that bad boy every day.
No, absolutely not. There are things in my life that I've come to realize that you just pay the price to pay. And
If Nick Kirby's paying the $15,
oh, I know it. You best believe it. You best believe it. There's nobody that owes value more than Nick Kirby. Let me tell you, we were on a road trip in Arizona one time. It's hotter than hot. It's sunnier than the sun. I mean, for somebody that knows something about sun, it's this guy. And Nick out here was trying to go to, I don't even remember where it was. I think we were going to go to some store instead of a different store, and he was upset because he wanted to get better value at the other store for sunglasses. I mean, we're talking about like $10 sunglasses, and my man was worried about trying to make sure he got good value out of it. So this guy, as much as you might think, he's too much here and there, he's always talking about the Reds, needing to do this, needing to do that. Hey, he's wired to find value. That's what he is. I mean, got to give you credit. So, I don't know where I was going, but I got to ignite the night, and then obviously we can head off into the sunset. We'll be back here better than ever tomorrow. In the meantime, I'm going to see if I can't figure out how to make sure that we don't look like we're in the Matrix half the time by anyways. I do want to say a significant amount of people on a Sunday night edition of Chatterbox Reds tuned in tonight, and I also would be remiss not to say thank you. Thank you. And I know that we asked you to like the stream. If you haven't already, please do so, but more importantly, just tell your friends about it. That's kind of maybe the most critical thing that you could do. We do it obviously all year long, and I know many of you already know that, but the more the merrier. And the fact that we can get this many people in the chat and we can get this many people kind of just feeling like they're a part of the community, that is why we do this. I not to get sentimental after the first opening series, but every single year we get done with this thing, I get like a month after we're done with it, and I just ask myself, like, is it time where we can maybe just scale this back a little bit? I mean, 162 is a lot, like, 162 feels like maybe overkill. And then you kind of slowly morph yourself through the off season, and then all of a sudden you get closer and closer to opening day. And if I'm being honest with you, you do a show on opening day, you do a show the next day, but tonight like feels like we're past the honeymoon phase a little bit, right? Like we're into the nitty-gritty of all the loyal people that really do truly follow this show. It's not just some randoms that are clicking on YouTube on opening day and they just so happen to find us. Thank you. Genuinely. We do our best to try to make sure that we put on the best show we possibly can, graphics, et cetera, et cetera. My apologies for whatever reason the computer just seems to struggle as of late. But I'll get that squared away, and we'll all get back on our merry way here soon. So until then, we're not scaling back, by the way. See, I say one thing, and all of a sudden, it's just like,
we're going to have
off
off-day shows. We're going to have off-day shows a lot of, as many off days as we can cover. We're going to have extra off-day shows, so get some guys filling in.
Yep.
So there should be something just about every day all year long for you.
Yeah, and listen, the Reds continue to find ways to keep this fan base excited and energized. I think that it'll open up even more and more opportunities of us to do more and more enjoyable and fun things together. So that being said, I'm only doing this for the first Sunday night edition of Chatterbox Reds. From here on out, we're dunking basketballs, and we're gonna rip some Ignite the Nights. Okay, only on sweeps. Only on sweeps. Those are possible. We will do that from time to time this year, but this is a man that needs to watch his health as he grows older, because he's not rebounding the same way that he once did. We gotta be careful. All right. So for myself, Nick Kirby, everyone else at Chatterbox Reds, we love you. Go Reds. We'll see you tomorrow night.
And shout out RD, Fowler and Kirby rule, last minute super chat. Thank you, RD.
Yeah, thank you. And that stuff tastes great. See you tomorrow, everybody.